Andy, we're good? Brianna? Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call the Clovis City Council meeting to order for October 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And at this time, if you can all rise, Councilmember Bessinger will lead us in the flag salute.
Please join me in saluting our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If our city clerk, Brianna Parra, can give the roll call.
Yes. Councilmember Ashbeck? Here. Councilmember Baskell? Here. Councilmember Bessinger?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pierce?
Here.
And Mayor Moana-Tua?
Here. Next will be public comments. Public comments, an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on an item that is within our jurisdiction but is not on the agenda. If you can limit your comments to 3 minutes, you may do so. If you can give your name and address for the record, we would appreciate that.
It just wouldn't be a meeting if you didn't make a comment.
I live on Bullard Avenue. I wanted to commend everybody for that meeting last week. It was a really nice meeting. And late in the meeting, Councilman Bessinger was talking about the wall that heals. And he was talking about, speaking about Andrew, God, my mind is gone. Andrew Reeds, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. And anyways, and I thought about that, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but again, I would like to mention the corner that's over here at the end of 5th Street and where it meets Sunnyside, and I've spoken to the mayor about this. That would be a perfect place for us to put something and honoring that young man, because as Councilman Bessinger was saying, you know, when he passed away, I think I was 11 or 12 years old. But I remember when that happened. It was a big deal, you know. And I remember some of the guys, some of the kids saying how they went to Boyce Funeral Home to see to see him, the casket, and from what I remember, the funeral home was full of people and all the kids from all the people from the neighborhood. From the Stafford Edition, they were there, and I heard about it for years, and I remember I used to work in Fresno, and I would drive down 5th Street, and his dad would put a flag up every morning, and I would drive by in the evening sometimes, and there he was putting it down. It was a lot of respect, you know, and I always thought to myself, man, that poor man, you know, every day he did that, you know, and I think he's passed on because they don't put the flag up anymore. But I think that corner, it means a lot to me. You know, because before I used to go through and the city of Clovis made that curve, you know, and we have that space there. And I think it's a shame. We need to put something there to honor not only him, but you know, Mr. Perkins and other people that have lived and made Clovis what it is. You know, we can't forget Jose Flores, but you know what? I'm sorry, Mr. Flores, he's still alive, you know? I mean, but I would like to honor Mr. Perkins and Andrew Reese. And I'm hoping that someday you guys will put it on the agenda, because, you know, everybody has a pet project, you know, and we did the book last week, and we're gonna have a thing for a former councilman, Pig Boss. So I'm begging you, I'm asking you, please, let's do this, please, you know? Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Anyone else like to have public comment? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close that portion. We'll move now to the consent calendar. Items listed in the consent calendar are routine in nature and are recommended for approval by the City Council. These items are considered and voted on as a single item unless a council member requests separate consideration of any item. We have items 1 through 18, so it's a long consent. Anyone on the council like to pull any of the items? Okay. Anyone here in the public like to address any of the items? Okay, you can come up and comment on them at this time. Go ahead.
Bill Scott, 341 Evergreen. The ones I want to, I know you can't discuss this, and it's just going to be my comments, but I want to bring up 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, and I don't know really exactly what the details are on this, because I'm sure you guys got all this in closed session that I can't be part of. And I look at the wording of this, some of these things you want to change, you use the word revise and rename. Others you just put revise, and others you put adopt. So it kind of sounds like you're taking some positions that already exist and kind of creating a new salary range for them and adopting some new positions. Well, this kind of, to me, is just an extension of what happened with Measure Y. After that was done, Lynn, you made a comment that I was really proud of. While they were discussing this after it passed, you said, you don't want to end up spending all this money and then find out the projections of what we're supposed to get don't match that. And then we got to go back to the people of Fresno and say, we don't have enough money anymore after we've already passed this. And I was kind of seeing this as something that's going to come out of it. The ones especially that I don't like are when you're saying revise and rename. To me, and again, I could be wrong, but you do this in closed session, I don't know, just means that you're taking a position that already exists and you're increasing their salary range, effectively giving them a raise. And you've done this before in several other positions. Also, I don't know, there's 10 different things you've put on here. Is this 10 people, or is this 20 people, or is this 50 people that this is going to affect? So are raises being given to a group, and in the past, the same thing? So they already all got a raise, a 3% raise, last spring, and now you want to give them another one. That 3% raise, from what I've been able to find out, is already more than what the average Clovis citizen got. And this is just kind of a sneaky way to add a little bit more, on top of the idea that, I know it doesn't happen often, but it's possible, a person could get a raise, a cost of living allowance, a step raise, and then this all in the same year. And I just really feel bad about that you guys even thought you could do this. I'd like to see all 4 of you vote no on this. Thank you.
Andy, can you give just a quick summary on why we do this pretty routinely?
Yeah, so these are repositions of restructuring of positions, mostly in our Planning and Development Services Department. That department is 99.9% enterprise funded, not Measure Y. There's a need to restructure to provide for continuity and for succession planning. And this was a proposal that staff has brought to you for that consideration. These are pretty routine for us to look at departments and make slight adjustments in order to allow for our long-term staffing plans to be implemented. So that's what those items are. The last one, the position that is the marketing specialist, that is about, I think, about 20% general fund, and the rest comes from enterprise funds. That one is actually a replacement of an extra help position. So we aren't adding a position, but we're making it a permanent position going forward.
Okay. Thank you, Andy, for that. Any other comments with regards to the consent items? Okay, so we'll close the public portion, bring it back to the council. What's the pleasure of the council on the 18 items?
I'll make that motion, but I think Mr. Scott raises a good point. Maybe in the future on these, even if they're consent, just a little more detail. Is it a new role? Is it a extra help converted to just some context for you, right? Because I think what you're saying is, I guess you could, the staff report might give you that background, but maybe just a little more clarity. And I understand the adopt, rename, reclassify verbs. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's a legit point. So I hear you on that. And if the staff report doesn't give you what you want, maybe we could work on how we describe that in consent calendar. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
Okay. Give me a second.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will now move to the public hearing portion, item 19. And this is SPR 2025-029, adopting a Class 1 categorical exemption from further environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving a site plan review for the site layout and design of the Big Dry Creek Trail improvements at Letterman Park Barstow Avenue and Villa Avenue, City of Clovis, owner and applicant. Staff on this is Marissa Parker, our associate planner. Staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Before I hop into my presentation, I did want to note that I am joined by Sadie Yanofsky from our Public Utilities Department. She is the engineer for this project, but I will go ahead and get started. So this site plan review is for the installation of entry features and pedestrian-friendly improvements to encourage the use of the Big Dry Creek Canal, which is located just next to our Letterman Park, west of Villa and north of Barstow. This project is proposing a new concrete trail that will lead from Villa Avenue to the existing natural canal bed, and an entry feature off of Villa and from Barstow, which we'll get into the details in a couple slides, and also a new, bigger trail entry feature leading from that new concrete trail to the existing trail. So speaking of the canal banks specifically, the City of Clovis and the Fresno Irrigation District do have a mutual trails agreement, which means that the canal banks within the city can be used and classified as informal trails. So we have had one other project kind of similar to this one, which was over at the Gould Canal and the Helm Ranch Park that just was completed earlier this year. So this is our second project with FID in collaboration with the Mutual Trails Agreement. Funding for this project is from the Community Development Block Grant Program Fund, which the city receives on an annual basis. And in this case, the council approved these funds on May 5th of this year for $187,000, which is what is making this project possible. So getting into some of the fun details of this project, on the screen you will see the Letterman Park Trail entry feature that is located at the very end of that new concrete trail through the park to the canal bank, and there is a I-frame steel concrete bar on the top and then two concrete columns on the side with the Letterman Park park name and the firefighter logo on top. There is also to the side a plaque that will include some of the park history, the park's name, and its affiliation with firefighters. There will also be a new trail sign post over here as well, which you can see a little bit in better detail on this slide. So it just says Letterman Trail, and that the trail from Villa to Barstow is about 0.39 miles. So this is what the entrance from Villa will look like to that new trail. And on the Barstow entrance, there will also be one of those trail posts as well. There will also be some wayfinding signs throughout the signs throughout the trail that will lead folks to the nearest crosswalks for safety purposes. So with that, staff was able to find that the site plan review meets all of the required SPR findings, but it also is enhancing our pedestrian access and encouraging the use of our existing trails and parks. And with that, staff is recommending that the City Council approve SPR 2025-029 subject to the conditions of approval. Thank you, and Seda E and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff? Councilor
It's
Besser.
not really a question, more of a statement. When I moved to Clovis in 1984, I lived at an apartment complex right next to Letterman Park. When you look at that area, it is almost predominantly either apartments or a mobile home park that has a large percentage of seniors. This will permit our seniors a safe path to go and take their little dog, generally their little dogs, to the park, get some exercise themselves, and be able to go back home, don't have to worry about crossing a major street. I want to thank staff and FID for their work on this, and I'm wondering what's next.
Any other comments? Lynn?
Just one comment. There was at least one reference in a letter about the concern about crime along the trails, and I think the police department acknowledged that that wasn't really an issue. But this canal bank is accessible now, right? People are walking on it now. So I didn't know if there was something in particular that this neighbor was worried that would change. But it seems in some ways it would be more eyes on our trail, more people paying attention to it, which is a good thing. So just, I wanted to comment on that and bring that out loud.
Yeah, so we did receive a few emails from residents regarding the increase in use of the existing informal trail. And I did get in touch with PD, and they mentioned that our police force is actually very active out there, and they typically do routine checks. And what they do when they go out there is they kind of like make sure that they interact with the current residents. They answer any questions. And also a lot of the calls that do come in from the area, they actually are from our local police. So basically calling in graffiti, calling in, pickups of debris, like shopping carts. So we're actively out there kind of making sure that there's eyes in that neighborhood, eyes on the park, and anyone, using the park at various times of the day. So that has been my current, or the most, the greatest update. And I do want to mention just one thing, and I apologize. In earlier screens, the agreement is the Master's Trails Agreement, and that's the agreement that we have with FID. Just a correction, I apologize for that. It's the Master's Trails Agreement, MTA.
Thanks. Yeah, I just think I wanted to make sure we heard them. I knew we heard them, and just, I was thinking this is actually an improvement for them. So it's not a new access to their backyard. It's the existing access with a little more attention. So that's all. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, on the same letter from the constituent, they referenced thinking this was going to, like Lynn said, a positive for that situation, that clean and paved was going to make it a better situation for them. But they also referenced a coyote den, and I was just curious what the status was of that and what can be done. I mean, that sounded crazy to me.
Yeah, the coyote den hasn't been there in some time.
Any other questions? Okay. Marissa, with the Master Trails Agreement, do these individually have to be approved by FID, or now it's all us and we can just, whenever we are ready with a section of any of the canal banks, we can just go forward?
It's a collaboration. Every time we have an idea for an improvement along the canal banks, we are in communication with FID. We're working with them on our proposal. We share the design elements, and they vet everything. They review and are heavily involved in the review process, and they're also and then we go through the approvals. So they're heavily involved in the design and the approval of the trail improvements for each project. And it will be done for every single trails improvement project coming in the future.
Okay, excellent. And yeah, it's exciting to see what's going to happen next, whether it goes all the way down to sort of north of the 500 club there, and if it goes all the way up to Bullard one day, and then hopefully connects to the rest of the trail system, especially for that section of our part of Clovis that really needs it. And so, thank you. Yeah. This time we're going to open up the public portion. Anyone like to address or have questions with regards to item 19?
Hello, my name is Steve Trevino. I live on Bullard. Did we ever find out why Lebanon Park was named Lebanon Park? We did, okay? And
Go ahead, you can
Yes,
answer that.
we do know. So there is a plaque at the park. It's in the center. It's right next to the flagpole, and it's a really neat history here. It's named after Clinton J. Letterman. He was a volunteer fireman who actually gave his life in the line of duty, and this happened on May 30th, 1969. So there is a lot of history in that park. We're currently also doing a lot of research on more history of the current park to see if this is the very first park or second park in our city. So that placard that we're going to be installing with the at the gateway structure is going to have historical information regarding the park. So we'll add to that history with the firemen.
Excellent research, Saeed.
Okay, I have another question. Is there going to be lighting along the trail? And, I'm sorry.
So yes and no. There will be lighting, that's already existing lighting within the park, and we intentionally placed the sidewalk, the 10-foot sidewalk trail, along the existing light poles. So that's a big benefit. So when you're inside the park, when you enter the park from the canal bank, you will have the light throughout your journey into, or that leads to Villa Avenue. There is no lighting along the existing canal bank that is owned it has an easement over it, that has FID easement. We do not have lighting from the portion from Barstow Avenue to the park, unfortunately, but the rest of it, the half portion of your walk will have some lighting available.
Excuse me now, is the whole trail going to be cement or is it going to be blacktop?
So the portion from Barstow to the park is going to be, it's going to maintain informal, so it'll be as existing, a dirt trail. The portion that when you enter the park that leads to Villa Avenue will be a concrete sidewalk.
Okay. And I noticed that along the trail here in Clovis, there's a couple of towers. In case of emergency, people can call the police or 911. Is there going to be a couple of those along that trail?
Unfortunately, we will not have a call box available at this location.
Okay. And you were saying that the police was going to be able to watch the trail. Is that trail wide enough for a car, a vehicle?
Yes, the trail portion from Barstow all the way to Villa, if you stay on the canal bank, is wide enough for a vehicle to have access throughout. So yes, that portion is. The portion that's concrete from the park to Villa, that will not be accessible through a vehicle.
Now, is there going to be, I'm sorry, I don't mean that's a big question. Is there going to be room for monuments in the future? And is there going to be any funding for monuments if there's any money left from this project?
We're actually incorporating quite a bit of features with this project. So one of the structures would be like the gateway structure feature, and they'll have like a monument or monuments, and three monuments, one on Barstow, one at the park, and then one at Villa. It's more like a concrete pillar on a concrete base, and it will have information about the trail name, information about the next stop, or your mileage to the next stop.
Okay.
It'll have those types of features.
I apologize. Another question. Is there going to be benches along the trail?
There will be no benches along this new trail. However, we encourage all the residents to enter the park, and there's plenty of benches throughout our park that already exist that they can use, and as well as patio structures that they can use.
Now, Miss, from that part, from the trails, is there walking access to the park? Because if I remember, there's some buildings along the trail. Can you walk from that trail onto the park?
Yeah. Can you say that again?
Okay, where the trail is at, will you be able to walk onto the park from that trail?
Yes, you will be able to walk along the canal bank.
Yeah.
And then enter the park from the canal bank through a gateway structure feature that we're going to be installing.
Okay.
If you see that on that map, it kind of shows you that there's
Okay.
going to be like improvements that will lead the people, pedestrians into the park directly, and we'll be doing some improvements along the surfaces, the existing surfaces, to make
Okay.
that an easy walk.
I just wanted to mention, I just turned 68 years old, and I like to walk. And there's places sometimes, even along the trail here, there aren't enough benches. And I think that it's important that there's benches. As a matter of fact, I think there should be a law. Like I get upset sometimes 'cause I go to Costco and I walk all the way to the back, and I get tired. I go, I wish there was somewhere to sit.
Yeah. Excellent point.
But anyways, when I go down the trail here in Clovis, there's nowhere to sit.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking if there was any benches. So anyways, hey, thank you.
And I think with regards to benches, that's something that we are trying to incorporate more and more into our trail system. I think Renee already has that down. Yeah.
Just
Any other questions from the public?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Sina, we'll go ahead and close the public portion. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. What's the timing on this? Timing?
So timing, upon approval tonight, we are in the review process for completing the plans and specifications. We are on schedule to start the bidding January 2026 for a March, April construction, because we do have a deadline with the funding.
Funds. So, Mr. Trevino, this plat came because you asked the question, who was Mr. Letterman? So, thank you. And we should find out if he has any family surviving and living in Clovis and invite them to the renaming or like the branding of this park. I don't know.
We are currently also working on
Looking
that,
to find?
on
Love
finding a family member that's
Love
alive
that.
that we can
Love
invite to
that.
the ribbon cutting event.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the Class 1 exemption from further environmental review and approve a site plan review for the layout and design of the Big Dry Creek Trail improvements at Letterman Park.
Second?
Okay, motion second. All those in favor, item 19, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Item 20 is a resolution of necessity to determine the public interest and necessity require acquisition of property for public purposes and authorize proceedings in eminent domain for property located north of Shepherd Avenue, west of Fowler Avenue. Staff is Jamar Rushden, and it's our management analyst. Go ahead, Jamar.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. So the right-of-way that is needed from the subject property that we will be discussing this evening is, again, for Shepherd Avenue widening project on Shepherd Avenue from Sunnyside to Fowler Avenue. In addition to widening Shepherd Avenue, work will include installation of curb and gutter, drainage improvements, landscaping, and pedestrian pathway connecting to the Fowler intersection. Staff has been in discussions with the property owner to acquire 2,469 square feet of right-of-way from their home located at 9029 North Fowler Avenue since September of 2024. Staff obtained an appraisal report for the property to be obtained that outlines its fair market value, and an offer was made to the property owner in accordance with Government Code Section 7267.2. This initial offer was presented to the property owner on September 12th, 2024. Note, all other acquisitions for this project have been obtained or are currently under contract. This is the last holdout for the project. To avoid further delays, staff is requesting the City Council approve the resolution of necessity. In general, the approval of a resolution of necessity affirms that the acquisition is in the public's interest and is the first step in the condemnation process. However, staff is committed to continue negotiations with the property owners, and again, we recommend the approval of this resolution of necessity. On the screen here, this is a proposed realignment for Shepherd Avenue. The green is the outline, which will be the reconfiguration of Shepherd Avenue once the work is completed. And you can see, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the current layout of Shepherd Avenue, but there are some really funky, for lack of a better term, turns within there that is a public hazard, so those will be straightened out as well. On this next slide, this is the actual subject property itself. The area that's outlined in red with the yellow stripes is the specific area that is to be acquired, and it's going to go 10 feet into the property. And that is the conclusion of this presentation. I will open it for any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions of staff? Go ahead, Drew.
Jamar, has the property owner been responsive over the last couple of months to any of our inquiries?
So last couple of months, no. Prior to that, yes. It's a hit and miss with this particular property owner. They'll go where they're very interactive with me, and then they'll just completely disregard all communications. Since the initial offer, there has been over 27 different communication attempts to the property owner. Some have been responded to, many of which has not. I've gone out to the property, door knocked the property. The property owner has come into the office. I've sent text messages, emails, certified mail, et cetera. And it's just, at this point, a complete disregard for all attempts of communication. And she has, at one point, has actually told me that she will just disregard things due to the nature of the entire process on purpose.
Yeah, usually eminent domain is always our last step, because it's basically the taking of
Correct.
property. I know this parcel, the amount of debris in there, some of this we're gonna have to move. Would that be correct?
That will be accurate. On that picture, you can see there's a lot of golf carts, and particularly along where we need to acquire, there are diesel trailers that will have to be moved. And again, those are things that we'll be working with the property owner as well. This is just the portion of where we are now due to the impasse that we are in our communication.
And our plan is to remove those items. We would just push those
To push those back into the
further
property.
into the property off
Correct.
of the easement.
Correct, and we will work with the property owner, because as the municipality, we personally don't want to be involved with touching their personal property, but we
Right.
will facilitate that being moved.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Matt.
Does the property owner have legal representation, or are they just doing this on their own with us?
Thus far, they haven't presented any legal representation to myself, no.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, okay.
This is not our item tonight. I'm overwhelmed at how much stuff is on that corner. So I would just like to offer, in our conversations with the county about how we can get along and be supportive of each other, that is not supportive. That, for all practical purposes, is in the city of Clovis. I know it's not, but people don't know that. So, I mean, there's something that has to be unacceptable to anybody. So as you talk about how we might share and work together, I would just say rural-urban interface, when it comes up against something like that, is not great. So add that to your list of things to negotiate. Good luck with that, but that is ridiculous. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, this time we're going to go ahead and open the public portion. Anyone in the public like to address the council on this item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close that and bring it back to the council.
Mayor, if we could just make it a matter of public record that the property owner was not here, nor
Okay.
was there a representative of the property owner, and this was a agendized, publicly noticed meeting.
Yep, duly noted. Okay. What's the
I'll make a
pleasure?
motion of a resolution of necessity to determine that public interest and necessity require acquisition of said property.
Second.
Okay, motion second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Jamar.
All right, thank you.
Next is item 21. This is consider approval amending license fees for gaming clubs and card rooms in the city. Staff on this is our city manager, Andy Hausman.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just wanted to provide you a little bit of background on what we're doing here tonight. The 500 Club Casino operates a 21-table gaming business at the corner of Shaw and Willow. They are regulated both by the Clovis Municipal Code as well as the state of California. They are heavily regulated. Back in January of 2018, City Council approved a transfer of the 500 Club Casino to a new ownership group and a new licensing fee structure. At that time, the fee structure was a percentage of gross revenues. And year one, it was at 6.25%, and it grew to 10%, and that is where we're at today. The fee in the last fiscal year generated $1.27 million in general fund revenue, but has been steadily declining and has been very hard for staff to predict, and the owner. Recently, the state enabled the city to allow for 8 additional tables to be added over the next 20 years, and this was approved by the city council. Proposal. So why are we here? The 500 Club Casino ownership approached the city to reconsider the licensing fee structure. We identified some mutual goals in this: provide stability in the fee amount for both entities and encourage growth of the business as well as the licensee revenues to the city. So with that, a proposal has been proposed: a fixed rate fee on a per table basis rather than a percent of gross revenues. The fee would adjust every 4 years based on inflation and table count, and an initial 50% discount for tables as they're added for the first 4 years they're in place. So how does this look? This is based on historical inflation, not necessarily what will come in the future, but the fee the first year, this year, would be $735,000 for 21 tables, and would grow to $1.8 million over the next 20-ish years. This is, again, could be adjusted based on inflation as those numbers come in. The fee would be adjusted every 4 years to simplify it for staff, and you can see where the discount is of 2 tables for every 4 years if they choose to add those. So if we look at this over historical terms, you can see on the chart in 24, 25 where we're at today, and you can see where we're at pre-COVID in 2020 and 2021. The proposal is in orange, where it drops it down to the $735,000 and slowly steps it back up as tables grow and inflation grows over time to the $1.8 million approximately. This provides stability and encourages growth of the business and revenue. We would love to see all businesses grow in Clovis. The recommendation from staff is for City Council to approve the resolution attached, amending the license fees for gaming clubs and card rooms in the city. There are representatives here from the 500 Club Casino as well. Thank you.
Any questions of our city manager on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public portion. Anyone from the public like to address the council on this?
Good evening, Jared Bonnie on behalf of the Clovis 500 Club. This is something, the Clovis 500 Club has been working with city staff for a long time, and we thank them for their help and assistance with this. We got feedback on this about 6 years ago as we discussed this prior, and the city kind of said, let's wait, let's see how this goes. As a smaller club, a gross revenue fee is quite tough, and especially with expenses rising, it really cuts down on the bottom line. So we're just asking for this brief adjustment. We think it's a win-win for us and for you, and we hope you guys see that as well, and we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions of Brian? No? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll bring back to the council. It's a pleasure.
I do have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying, like, wait, where'd that person go? Was there ever a discussion about the graph that you showed, that one? So, first of all, I commend you for sort of starting with what you shared. What are the mutual interest things that we share with the club? We need the club to be successful. It's important to our community. It's historical, all of that. So thank you for doing that. In the talk about the proposal, in the years of orange, the orange coming up years, was there ever any discussion besides the every 4-year adjustment? Like, what if they have a super great year and in those 4 years they make 3 times the money that they make now? I know that's not going to happen, but let's just imagine that happens. Was there any discussion about in those years where everybody's projection was more than imagined that you would account for that in some ways, additional feedback to the city?
That would have required us to do a percentage-based reimbursement, and we really were looking for stability on both sides on what this cost and revenue is going to be. So it wasn't discussed at length, but it was something that was discussed initially about what should the percentage be. And
I was thinking, like, could you have a flat, could you have the stability number, and then in years that were, exceeded that? I mean, would you account for that in some way? Because the revenue is less, but it's more stable over time. I get that it's a trade-off, but I just wonder if that was ever talked about much.
not in detail.
Not much?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Seeing none, it's a pleasure of the council. Oh, Drew, you had questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, more of a comment.
Yeah.
I did meet with the applicant on this. When I worked for the police department, I wrote our ordinance back in, I got to do the math on that.
Careful.
I know. Card rooms are under the gun with the Indian casinos. Every year, every 2 years, some legislation goes through trying to tie the hands of card rooms, make their lives difficult to impossible. There was in the last election, they wanted to have expanded gaming at the Indian casinos and also create a scenario where card rooms would be treated really unfairly by the Department of Justice, California Department of Justice. Our Indian casinos do a good business. They are good neighbors. They do a lot of good things at our community events, but there needs to be a fairness quotient here, and this is a fair action by the city to make sure that the 500 Club can stay afloat and also bring money to the city of Clovis.
That sounds like a motion.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I just wanted to compliment both applicant, I met with them also, and staff for really coming together to work this out, because I think, as our city manager pointed out, we want all our businesses to be successful. That's the win-win that we're looking for. And so I just wanted to express my appreciation for the 500 Club, what you guys do for the community, and to, Lynn's kind of question of, hey, let's be hopeful that there's some fantastic, revenues that come in some year. I just want to acknowledge what you guys already do for the community, and I have no doubt that there would be rewards reaped by Clovis should that happen. And so I appreciate the concept of keeping the stability of fees and revenues, but also acknowledging that you guys already do an awful lot for the community, and we appreciate that and look forward to seeing that continue.
Go ahead, Matt.
Just to clarify, so this is a guaranteed payment of $735,000 regardless of anything.
Correct.
And how is that payment received from the city?
It's proposed on a monthly basis.
So every month they're gonna
Whatever
cut a
the,
check for $73,000 basically?
correct.
Okay. Or 60-something thousand. Sorry.
I was gonna say, they could just raise their rate.
Sorry, I know, I did by 12.
735
Sorry. I meant
divided by 12.
The 60-something. Okay, thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Andy, for working with the 500 Club owners. And I want to echo Mayor Pro Tem Pierce's comments with regards to the 500 Club. They are involved with the rodeo. They are involved with our health systems. They're involved with small nonprofits. They're involved with the local schools and helping clubs and cheerleaders. And they're always out there. And they've always been very generous in contributing to our community, and we appreciate that about the 500 Club and their owners. And so, go ahead, Drew.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution amending license fees for gaming clubs and card rooms in the city of Clovis.
Second?
Okay, we have motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next is city manager comments. Andy?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. First off, this is a great photo for us. This is some of the first staff we've been able to hire with Measure Y. So I just wanted to share that. We are beginning to see some of the impacts of Measure Y. And very exciting. And yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm sure.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
We're beginning to have recruitments. And on the heels of that, also on the dice for you, is a report from our sales tax consultant on sales tax revenues. This was the first report that included Measure Y. This is for the April to June quarter of 2025. So the first, and it's right on track with what they had expected. So we are seeing some other revenues move around, so we're working all through that, but we're very excited and feeling very sustained by Measure Y at this point, and very grateful for it. Another thing I wanted to highlight is another park, another sign that got installed, the David McDonald Park, honoring him and his vision and his contribution to our community. David McDonald was incredibly generous with supporting Miss Winkle's Potted Oshman Center and created thousands of jobs in our community. So very grateful for him, but wanted to honor his legacy per council direction there. We have a planning commission this week, come out for that. Also on Saturday, we're handing out countertop compost pails, so come out to that. That is at Letterman Park, speaking of. And then the next meeting for the General Plan Advisory Committee is Thursday, October 30th. We invite people to come out and engage on that. And our community needs survey for the community development block grant, which paid for the trail that we discussed tonight, is seeking input for our next 5-year plan. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Next is city council comments. Councilmember Basco?
Just a couple things. The NKGSA board meeting is canceled for this month, so we won't be having that. I'll be out of town on November 10th for that meeting, so I won't be here for that, just letting you know ahead of time. And then also went to the Youth Commission event the other day, and again, it's just a really great job to everybody, Vong and Lynn, for the work that you put into that to make that happen. I must say I was skeptical at first when this was first going to start a few years ago, and wasn't really seeing the vision that you may have had on it, but it was really cool to see those kids there and just how involved they are and the work that Brianna and Chad put in, and just thank you for that, because it really was kind of neat to see them as engaged as they are in what they're doing, between the ones that have been there a few years and then the new ones. So anyways, just thank you for that. That's all.
Thank you, Matt. Councilmember Bessinger?
This is our last meeting for October, and I want to remind everybody about the Sheriff's Memorial dedication on the 29th of October at the Sheriff's Substation at 1129 North Armstrong Avenue at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's all I have.
Councilmember Ashbeck?
A few comments to the Youth Commission. Thank you for that shout out. It's good. Vong and I were proud of that. We did a good job. But today, just a funny story, I was at Fresno State for a meeting, and I was in the student union, and there was this little tap on my shoulder, and it was Noor from our first class, and she's all grown up. I'm like, what happened to you? She's really the same. But I mean, she said the GPAC was great. It was fun to see that kind of full circle. So anyway, I said, well, she laid a good groundwork for that, because now we are in the third year. But anyway, it was fun to see her as a kind of an adult in an adult setting, but that was pretty fun. And everyone will probably comment, Clovis Night Out was great. Wasn't 110 like it was last year, which was really much better. And just a shout out to Chad and Brianna and Rebecca for the book setup and the trolley, and to Kenneth, the beloved trolley driver. Oh my Lord, who is that guy? Kindest person ever. But it was so great. It was just great to see these long lines of kids waiting for the book, and Jenna to sign the book, and it was really great. I don't know how many books they actually sold, but I bet almost all that she had. And then I don't think this is supposed to be public knowledge, but that's what I'm here to tell people that are secret. I do believe the Prandini family paid for books for every third grader at Mickey Cox. Is that right? Yeah, I think maybe every third grader. I'm not sure, but it was every third grader at Mickey Cox. I know for sure. Oh, the Clovis High area, that's right. So I'm sure they didn't want me to say that. So I didn't say it, you didn't hear it here, it wasn't me that said it, but it was an incredibly generous gesture. And so watching all that excitement was just really so great. So thank you all for that. That was really fun. And just to report out on FCTA, it was a pretty short meeting, nothing too eventful. I did bring I love they do a matrix every now and then on all the current Measure C projects, which I think is really helpful. So I don't know if you all see that as staff, you probably do, but anyway, I brought it if you do not see it, so I'll leave that for you. And I'll just report that Measure C is in the final mediation stages of who wants what where, and we'll see if they get there. And I think they're planning to have something for the COG board on October 30th, I think, something.
Next week.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We're close. Anyway, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Pierce.
I actually have nothing tonight.
All right, and I wanted to congratulate Amy Hans for top 10 women. I know she's not here this evening, and a lot of us were out there, and so it was just a proud moment for the city of Clovis for her to get that recognition amongst the other 9 award recipients. I went to the Food Economy Summit, and I think Chad was there, and Sean, and what's the young lady from the Culinary Center? Chris. They presented on our behalf. I think it validated the vision of those who set up the Culinary Center, that we were doing a lot of what people from Colorado, out of state, were saying you should be doing, and we've been doing that. And it's just amazing the work and the amount of people we've helped over the years of working in kitchens and then moving on to be entrepreneurs. So went to the Culinary Center open house as well. Got to try different foods and charcuterie and barbecue ribs, yep, and all that. So thank you for inviting us to that. And I wanted to say for the Clovis on tour, I spoke to the author, and so I said, hey, we can make it where it's in Spanish and Hmong, and the translation will be easy. And so
Like
do
it.
those versions, and so that way it's ready, we can offer that.
Like that.
But
Good idea.
but it was just great to see just Jenna out in the community, out to different schools, and seeing how excited the kids were to welcome her. With that, that's all I have. So thank you very much. We're going to now move to closed session. We have 2 items, and so if you are here, you'd like to address the council on any of the 2 items, you can do so at this time. Okay. And seeing none, I think, do we have anything to report out, Scott, on those 2? Do you anticipate anything to report out?
We are not requesting action on either item that would need to be reported out tonight.
Okay, all right. So with that, we are adjourned at 6:51. Thank you.